Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. Welcome to Daft Punk Month Free. And while in the previous 2 months I've talked a little bit more about this French duo's discography, I thought I would change gears a little bit, for this edition, and talk a little bit about their videography, their output of visual media, which surprisingly they've had quite a bit. And I thought I would start with their most well-known, with the most well-known feature-length video project they're associated with. Interstella 5555, the story of the secret star system. Released in May of 2003, the concept of the movie was developed by Daft Punk themselves, who, alongside collaborator Cédric Hervé, co-wrote the script and then shipped it over to Toei Animation for it to be, produced. They produced it under the direction of Kazuhisa Takenouchi and the supervision of Leiji Matsumoto, who Daft Punk initially wanted as their director, as the director of the movie, given their appreciation for his previous work, primarily on the classical anime Captain Harlock. As this movie was supposed to be a companion piece to their sophomore studio album, Discovery, they regularly kept in touch with Toei in order to make sure that everything went according to plan. So while this movie, is in line with the vision the band had for it, that doesn't necessarily say much about its quality. So what can be said about about its quality? The TLEW for this review is there is a surprising degree of emotional depth and dimension to this movie. Even though it is working with a handicap, i.e. the fact that its soundscape is already defined by an album, and therefore all plot relevant information has to be conveyed visually, it nevertheless manages to convey a complex ambiance with a great deal of care and attention, inviting the readers to engage and explore it at their own pace, more or less. There are I have to say a few occasions where where the narrative or the presentation of the movie somewhat stumbles, but the overall product still ends up coming across as enjoyable. So if the idea behind this movie makes you curious, uh, I can't mention any reason why you would why it wouldn't be worth also watching it. And now that I'm done with the broad strokes, it's time I delved a little bit into some specifics. The plot of this movie follows a music band of humanoid aliens who, during a concert on their home planet, are abducted by a group of masked assailants and shipped back to Earth. So yeah, an invasion of the alien abduction trope. A ship captain from the same, species or the same planets, kind of, it's kind of hard to really make out, learns about this incident and sets out to rescue them. That's it. That's basically the premise of the movie. From this deceptively simple premise, however, the movie is capable of weaving a surprisingly in-depth story about self-image, identity, exploitation, and connection. And it manages to do so, and the primary means for which it does so is by including and utilizing every narrative, every narrative cue that that it can within this context, allowing for them to in this context, allowing for a surprising degree of depth and complexity to to emerge from the from this admittedly simple um, uh, this minimally simple presentation and premise. And the most interesting part about this is that the movie actually manages to do so without without wasting any time, without spinning its wheels. As in, and by that I mean that it very effectively covers the length of the album without going beyond that. There is next to there's next to no bloat, next to no waste. That does unfortunately lead to some moments of dissonance, such as the brainwashing scene taking place over Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, a fast-paced, more jovial song that doesn't really match the intended mood of the moment, especially when considering what's coming after it. Or the fact that the action climax takes place over Veritas Quo, which, while not a slow song, is still meant to be a moody, melancholic, and contemplative number. Not exactly the kind of song you would have an action sequence over. Still, even with these issues, and even though I am basing this review on my second viewing of the movie, therefore I would technically already know everything that happens within it. I still found myself a little bit misty-eyed by the time this movie was over. As in, I knew things would happen, and yet they still impacted me. So I think that really says that this movie still has it within itself to touch its audience, and to make itself intriguing in that manner. Unfortunately, other aspects of the movie do not fare as well. The world building is quite effective while the movie is exploring the aliens' planet, as it takes its time to explore both the world and its inhabitants as they are in their more through a quite personal connection. Once the movie arrives on Earth, however, that level of attention and care falls to the wayside just a little bit, because it spends more of its time trying to spends more of its time utilizing various cues in order to various visual cues in order to hint towards the world, or the aspects of the world that the characters interact with. Occasionally it is effective, but other times it just comes across as cheap. That being said, the characterization suffers the most from this movie. Even though this movie is built around the connection the audience would have to its central cast, the actual band doesn't, or rather the band members don't receive any development, or don't receive sizable development when looked at individually. And in fact, when looked at individually, they only have as much character definition as their establishing traits give them. Still, that is better than most of the rest of this cast, which basically functions as one scene wonders. Even if they have more than one scene, they are still effectively one scene wonders. You understand what they're going for, but beyond that, they're just there to fulfill their role within this movie. Overall, while there is a great deal of attention and care and passion that has flowed into developing and creating this story. The fact that this movie has to synergize with Discovery ultimately affects its quality. So yeah, my final rating for Interstella 5555 is a 3 out of 5. I could have gone 4 out of 5, just for the meme, as in, because it's called Interstella 4 5s basically. But I have to stay true to myself, and these rankings have to mean something. So therefore, this movie is for that, and this movie really only fits the quality descriptions of 3 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there's anything you'd like to add, either to the movie itself or to my review of it, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. I also have a main channel where I talk about book-related and literature topics, a link to which you can find in the description down below, if you're interested. Right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. If you want to hear more about my thoughts outside of the printed word medium, then I suggest you stay on this channel and go for my extensive backlog of movie reviews, album reviews, TV show reviews and overviews, gameplay, commentary on a whole bunch of different topics. Like, I dabble into a lot of things. You are bound to, one of them is likely to strike a chord with you. Sorry about that. If none of those options interest you, then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want with the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was it. That was it for me. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man.